Okay, so this question is 4 secant 4x. Let me rewrite it for us here. Okay, we want to take the derivative. Now, this is a function inside of a function, right? This is the 4 secant is the outside function, and the 4x is inside of it, right? This does not mean multiplication. Are you clear on that? Whenever we have a trig function, sine, cosine, tangent, secant, cosecant, whatever, right? If I do secant of, 30 degrees, I don't know what that is, but let me see, the cosine of 30 root 3. So it's 2 over root 3. Anyway, whatever. So my point is that doesn't mean multiplication, right? This is not multiply, multiplying. Let's just say that. This is not multiplying secant times 30 degrees. No, 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 it is, it is instead secant with 30 degrees plugged in. It's not multiplication, it's plugging. So remember, with trig functions, you're plugging an angle inside of it, like you put bread into a toaster and it doesn't multiply. Don't say I multiplied the bread. I put the bread in the toaster and it did something to it. Out came toast, right? So that's what we're doing here. Putting a 30-degree angle inside of the secant machine and out came this answer, 2 root 3, 2 over root 3. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's what's going on here. This 4x is not multiplied by secant. This 4 is. This 4 is multiplied by secant. That's definitely multiplication. But this 4x, and you might say, well, there's parentheses. That means multiply. No, it doesn't. Right? And you know that. Think about like f of 3. That doesn't mean f times 3. That means plug 3 into the f function. Right? So whenever we have a function, f, g, h, or secant, cosecant, sine, cosine, whatever, trig function, other function, what comes after is plugged into it, not multiplied by it. And that's a big difference because if this was multiplication, we need to use the product rule, but we're not using the product rule. This is function inside a function. What do you do for that? That's called chain rule. When you have a function inside of a function, you do chain rule, which means what? So you have an outer function and you have an inner function. Outer, inner. And so when you take the derivative, what you do is you take the outside function first, keep the inside the same, then it's the inside function's turn. That's his derivative. That's chain rule. So let's do it. So coming on down here, I'm going to go f prime of x. Okay, what do you do first? First, you do the outer function. What's the outer function? Or secant, right? So that's good. The 4 just sits, remember, multiplied numbers just sit there as a spectator. What's the derivative of secant? It's secant tangent. Are you aware of that? You have secant, the derivative is secant tangent. So whatever the argument, so in this case, it's going to be secant for, right? There's no such thing as secant alone. I mean, I know I wrote that, but I'm just trying to write a shortcut rule to make things go quickly. But it's going to be secant 4x tangent 4x, right? You keep the inside, remember the chain rule, derivative of the outside, keep the inside the same. So I did the derivative of the outside, derivative of secant is secant tangent, keeping the plug-in 4x the same, but we're not done. We're not done. Times the derivative of the inside. What's the inside? This is the inside. What's the derivative? This is the derivative of the inside. What's the derivative of 4x? It's just 4. Because it's x to the 1 comes down, subtract 1 from the power, x to 0 is gone. So don't forget that 4x is inside, and we got to do his derivative at the very end. That's what the chain rule says. And so what does that give us overall? Well, this 4 in the front will multiply that 4 in the back, makes 16 secant 4x, tangent 4x. And there we go. That's our answer. So one more time, we have an outer function and an inner. So you got to take the derivative of the outside. 4 secant is 4 secant tangent. You got to keep the inside the same at first, times, then it's the inside turned into 4x, it's just 4. And then these 4s will multiply to be in the front, 16. Secant 4x, tangent 4x. And there we go.